Hey, Luke with Wedding Film Coach here. Yesterday I put out a video talking about the release, the launch of the DJI Ronin-S, the single-handed gimbal that they have been developing for quite some time now. It was announced officially back at CES 2018, I think back in February maybe, but even before that I heard rumors about the DJI Ronin-S back in 2017 at WPPI. There was a lot of talk about these one-handed gimbals that were going around, the Pilot Fly, the Crane, the Air Masa Cross, something like that. But anyway, there was, and everybody was talking about, okay, DJI, do you guys have an answer to this? And it was kind of like this confident, like, we'll have something coming out soon, but no real talk about it. And so here we are over a year later, and they've released the Ronin-S. They've released the price, which is $699 US, and they've also released all the features, and they've released all the frequently asked questions. Everything is available on their website. And that's what I'm going to do today, because I know that a lot of you probably don't have time to go and research this. Maybe you're at work and you can't really take off some time to go and do the research, look through everything, and do the pros and cons list. And so if you have some time to maybe just put this YouTube video on and just listen to it in your earbuds as you're working, as you're typing, as you're doing whatever, then maybe this will help you out. Or maybe if you're driving, you can just listen to it as you're driving to work or whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to be helpful because I got a lot of good feedback, a lot of good response from the video I put out yesterday. Obviously, this is something you guys are interested in. Hey, real quick before we get into this video, if you are interested at all in purchasing the DJI Ronin-S, then use the link in the description below. That will help me out just a little bit. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it'll help me keep making videos like this to help out filmmakers like yourself. Thanks so much. Here we go. So I'm on the DJI website right now. I'm on the Ronin-S page, and to get here, let me just go back to the DJI.com. That's kind of hard to say over and over again. DJI.com, and just go up here on the top to Ronin, and it gives you the Ronin series. There's a nice picture there of a guy doing a backflip and some man filming it. And here we go, Ronin-S. First thing on the top of the page, just click on the $699 thing. It'll take you to the Ronin-S specific page. And here, it's just giving you kind of the basics. Superior 3-axis stabilization, 3.6 kilograms tested payload capacity. That is about 8 pounds, I think. Camera control, pro accessory compatibility, fine focus control, automated, smart features, angled roll motor. Essentially what all that means is it's a 3-axis stabilization. It can hold up to about 8 pounds if you're in the US, 3.6 kg everywhere else in the world. And then camera control, it lets you know that it has a joystick on it, so you can control it manually. You can control it just with your movement, like most gimbals. Pro accessory compatibility, they don't have any of their accessories out yet for this gimbal, but I imagine that they're coming real soon. It's kind of disappointing in a way that they didn't have some sort of package at release that, you know, kind of like their drone Fly More combo. You can get like an extra battery, a nice carrying case, some extra propellers, and they kind of give you a deal for getting that package. I kind of wish that they had a deal out for that if you wanted to add on one of these accessories that are going to be coming out, but I guess they're still in development. And that's one thing I really appreciate about DJI in a world that is all about just getting your stuff out as quickly as possible. They really take their time to be meticulous on getting the right product out at the right time. So I appreciate that, DJI, if you're watching. Fine focus control. They have a follow focus feature that I'm not quite sure how it works. I know this has been implemented in other drones here in the past few years. I assume that it's something where you connect a USB cord to your camera, and then one of the dials on the gimbal can help you focus manually, so you don't have to rely completely on autofocus. I'm a Sony user, and so my autofocus is really great. I'm very skilled and adept at using that autofocus, and so that's something that I probably won't be needing much for my wedding films. However, I do some commercial work, I do some small film projects, and so that might be something I look into possibly with another camera. And then automated smart features, we'll get into that later. Angled roll motor, that simply means that the bar is not right in front of, if this is your LCD screen, the bar is not right in front. It's got that angled roll motor down here, so you can have clear line of sight to your LCD screen. Moving on, it gives you some pictures here of the gimbal, just from different angles, so you can kind of see what it looks like. And that would have been, because I'm screen capturing this, that would have been better than me using a stupid analogy, a stupid illustration with my hands. This is what they mean by the angled roll motor. And then here's the pack it comes in, and so they do put a bunch of accessories in there for you, but it's not these pro accessories that I was talking about earlier. They'll probably let you eventually purchase a second battery for it, or even an extended battery. They do include a tripod. We'll get into all that. Okay, so what's in the box? Just go down here. Gimbal, battery grip, a camera mounting plate, focus wheel, RSS IR control cable, multi-camera control cable type C, lens support, camera riser, extended grip tripod. That'll be nice to just come in the package. Another multi-camera control cable type B, USB-C cable, 24-watt USB power adapter, varies by region. Accessories box, so you can throw all this in there if you don't want to just carry it around in your pockets. An Allen wrench, I'm assuming maybe for, I doubt that this is for your balancing. This is probably just for the different joints on your gimbal, because over time they may start to loosen. I've had that issue with my pilot fly. I wouldn't really say that that's a manufacturing fault. It's just the nature of the beast. Anything that comes with moving parts that are connected together, you're going to have to tighten those and maintenance those from time to time. So that's probably what that's for. Hook and loop strap for cable, hook and loop strap for gimbal, storage case. So it looks like they're giving us a lot of these necessary accessories in the box. I like it that they put a camera riser in there. Sometimes I've tried to use lenses that come down a little bit below, so if this is where the camera is sitting on the gimbal mounting plate, sometimes my lenses are a little thicker and they come down just a little bit below that. And so that'll be nice to have that camera riser so that your lens isn't bumping into the gimbal, and you can make sure everything's how it needs to be. So let's go to the frequently asked questions now. I found a lot of this helpful as I was reading through it this morning, so this is one of the main reasons I wanted to walk through this with you guys. And so it answers a lot of questions. What is the tested payload capacity of the Ronin-S? We have tested a payload capacity of 3.6 kilograms, 8 pounds, while maintaining optimal performance. So that tells me if you have to go past this limit, then you're probably going to be able to. It just may not be optimal performance. And honestly, some of the bigger YouTubers who have been able to use this gimbal before its actual release, they're not great at gimbal operating. That's not a judgment. It's just I guess it is kind of a judgment. I don't mean anything negative or bad about it, but that possibly could have been the issue. I've noticed a lot of them had a bunch of gear on it, and so. So anyway, what is the optimal operating temperature of the gimbal system? It goes all the way from -20 Celsius to 45 Celsius. If you do Fahrenheit, it's 4 Fahrenheit to 113 Fahrenheit. That's pretty much going to cover any type of shooting situation unless you are an extreme weather person, or maybe you live in Texas and you do a lot of outside shooting in the dead of summer. Yeah. Is the Ronin-S camera mounting plate compatible with any quick release system? This is great because a lot of people use the Manfrotto system. It says the Ronin-S camera mounting plate is compatible with the Manfrotto 501PL type. You can simply dismount the camera setup from Ronin-S, then mount it onto a compatible tripod or fluid head system. How do I update the Ronin-S firmware? To update the firmware, power on the Ronin-S and connect it to a PC or Mac computer, then use DJI Pro Assistant for Ronin. So I think that's your application that's either on the computer or your phone. Yes, and excuse me, does the Ronin-S come with a tripod? Yes, you can collapse it into an extended grip for better handheld operation. I've been seeing that a lot in their media that they've been putting out for this, and some of the YouTubers who've got hands-on had this as well. I think that'll be really nice for beginners that need a little bit of extra grip to stabilize it and to balance it in their actual hands. And so I don't know if I'll use it. I'm definitely going to try it out to see if that's something I want to integrate, but I really enjoy having more of a smaller profile, smaller, you know, this as small as I can get my gear. That's what I want, because I'm always moving in and out of tight spaces on a wedding day. But the tripod will definitely be nice, especially if you want to use some of the time-lapse functions that are probably going to be great with this, or if you just want to set it up somewhere and still control it with your app remotely. That could be really cool too. So lots of neat things to try. Does the Ronin-S come with a carrying case? Yes, it does. Can I control RED or ARRI cameras on the Ronin-S? It says the Ronin-S does not support control of these cameras. So if that was a big issue for you, you might be disappointed. Compatibility and connectivity. How do I know if my camera is compatible with the Ronin-S? It says click here to view the Ronin-S compatibility list. Let's do that real quick. Just see what they got. Okay, so they got Canon series here. It has all kinds of lenses as well. Panasonic, Nikon, Sony. So it says it does have start-stop recording video capture photo. Looks like all A7 series. A7's hot right now. A9 if you have the A9, and of course the A6000 series as well. Looks like thankfully they did not give away any new 6000 cameras that may be coming out soon that are rumored. Some companies have accidentally done that before, which is funny. They have all your lenses over here. So let's go back to the frequently asked questions. And next, about compatibility and connectivity. What is the longest focal length supported by the Ronin-S? According to our test, the Ronin-S can capture stabilized footage with 5D Mark IV plus the 85mm EF f1.4 IS-USM lens in handheld scenarios. That seems a bit, I'm not sure what they mean by it can capture stabilized footage in handheld scenarios, because if you're using the gimbal, you're not wanting to be handheld. Maybe it just means that if you would otherwise use it in a handheld scenario, it can stabilize in those situations. I'm not sure. What accessory power interfaces are supported by Ronin-S? It says it has an 8-pin connector on both sides of the control panel, can provide power, and can be used to connect the Ronin-S focus wheel. The dual 4-pin CAN bus connector beneath the camera carriage can provide up to 24 watts of power for a range of DJI accessories. So that's good to know. The RSS interface can be connected to compatible cameras via dedicated cables to access camera features, including start-stop video recording and camera parameter adjustments. And so with that, considering that statement and also what it gives for the camera compatibility, it seems like you can use Sony cameras with this gimbal with the start and stop video features. A lot of people have been saying that you cannot use Sony cameras. I think what they're referring to is those manual follow focus features that it's going to have for several of the cameras. And so here, I think what it means is that you will be able to connect your Sony cameras, you will be able to start and stop your record with that, which will be awesome, because that's usually mostly what I'm doing with my actual camera body. Anytime I have it on a gimbal, I'm starting recording, stopping recording. And so if that can be one less movement, one less thing I have to do in a moment, and I can simply just click a button, then that's probably going to speed up my workflow, even if it's just a little bit. Hey, that's one more half of a second I have to think about something else, to move to a different location, to get that shot going in a moment that kind of came up on me really quickly. And so all of those are really important for wedding filmmaking. Talking about the battery a little bit. What kind of battery does the Ronin-S use? The Ronin-S uses an RB1-2400 mAh 14.4 volt intelligent battery. I'm not up on all the battery nomenclature, but if that means anything to you, it probably sounds good. And here's what it means for everybody else. So how long is the battery life on the Ronin-S? A fully charged battery can power the Ronin-S continuously for 12 hours if the gimbal is properly balanced. And so that tells me, I like that word continuously there. So that means that if you just have it on, you don't turn it off, and you're running and gunning with it for 12 hours straight, it's going to stay on if you have it properly balanced. I like that. I use these for sometimes 12-hour wedding day shoots, but I'm not using it continuously. In some situations I am going handheld. Sometimes I just have it off when I'm scouting out a location or I'm thinking about my next shot. And so if it has 12 hours of continuous operation, then I think that's going to be enough for me. I think that's going to be enough for most filmmakers. And like I said, they're probably going to come out with a secondary battery that you can simply, a secondary battery grip that you can just plug in to that gimbal and just keep rolling. So I think they're going to take care of us there. It says, the next question is, how long does it take to fully charge the battery? It takes approximately 2 hours to charge the battery when fully when using the 24-watt USB power adapter. How do I charge my battery? Connect the grip to the Ronin-S gimbal and charge the built-in battery via the USB-C interface. An optional battery adapter will also be available to enable battery charging and discharging without attaching the gimbal directly. Again, I think this is good news for us because they're saying in the future we're probably going to have some sort of a charging adapter, much like we do for our camera batteries or anything else. We don't want to just put our cameras on the charger and sit there and let them wait to charge, Sony. But it's going to have a base where we can put the battery grip, let it charge, grab our secondary battery grip, put it in the gimbal, keep going, and just switch them out if you need to. All right, in-app parameter adjustment. It says, what is auto-tune? So a lot of this is looking familiar to anybody else who's used a Ronin gimbal before, whether it was a Ronin, just the base Ronin model, or the Ronin M, the Ronin MX. All those things, it has auto-tune on it. So the Ronin-S auto-tune can automatically calibrate motor stiffness based on mounted payload and tuning aggressiveness. Auto-tune can be accessed via the configuration motors parameter page before performing auto-tune. Mechanical balance adjustment is necessary. 3 preset auto-tune aggressiveness levels can help you modify the stiffness output value. The low preset is optimized auto-tune for scenarios where only slow movement is involved. When the Ronin-S is mounted to a vehicle or used for fast-moving scene, the high preset can ensure optimal gimbal performance. The mid preset is designed to provide a satisfactory outcome for most cases and is the default setting. So all that to say, it's giving you 3 different auto functions. So think about maybe playing a video game, you got easy, normal, hard, you know. So I think that most people are going to find themselves living in that mid preset range. But if you're doing very subtle movements, maybe you're getting, for wedding filmmakers, maybe you're doing some a session with a dress or some rings or something that's, you know, very small or very meticulous, and you want to have very, very smooth, fine-tuned movements in a very slow way. I think that low auto-tune level would be good for those types of scenarios. But if you're getting a really dynamic shot where maybe you're running behind a car, or you're tracking somebody who's running, or you're just making some really fast movements, that high preset is going to be for you. So Smooth Track. What is Smooth Track? Smooth Track enables the Ronin-S to intelligently react to and follow the operator's movement without input from a second operator. You can selectively enable Smooth Track on the pan, tilt, and roll axis on the Ronin-S. For further instruction for using Smooth Track, please refer to the manual. So pretty much what that is telling you is it does what every other gimbal does. It's their Smooth Track is kind of their, you know, their IP, their type of branding. But essentially it means that, hey, you can control it by moving the gimbal from side to side, up to down, around. And it also says that you can selectively enable Smooth Track on each of these different axes, the pan, the tilt, and the roll. So that's simply saying that you can put it in different modes. If you just want it to be, if you want it to follow everywhere, but you don't want it to roll, turn the roll axis off. If you want it to be more like a slider type movement, and you want to be able to move your body in a way that keeps it stabilized, but you don't want it to pan, and you don't want it to pan, you don't want it to tilt, put it in that slider mode, turn all those axes off, and it's just going to give you a nice, buttery smooth pan feature. So next question, How do motor stiffness settings work? Motor stiffness values determine the strength of the Ronin-S's motors to maintain the camera position, which is critical for maintaining stability. Heavier payloads mounted to the gimbal require higher stiffness values to ensure stable performance. Inadequate stiffness values will result in inability to offer optimal stabilization. If if you're unsure about which values to set, simply use auto-tune to let the Ronin-S calculate the optimal motor stiffness. So this is saying that essentially those auto-tune functions we were talking about earlier, you can manually dial these in if you need to. I would suggest at first trying the auto-tune settings, see how that works for you, and then from there use that as a starting point, and you can say I need a little bit more power, or I need a little bit less power. It's a bit too aggressive. So you can fine-tune those. What is the system calibration and when should I use it? System calibration is designed to counteract gimbal drifting caused by accumulated sensor errors. Before initializing the calibration process, the Ronin-S must be placed on a level surface without being disturbed. Use the system calibration when you notice that the gimbal is drifting or when the horizon is tilted. This is great. This is something that kind of happens a lot in gimbals, and one of the frustrations that a lot of people have with their gimbals is it won't be calibrated quite right, and so you're trying to get it level, but it keeps like kind of tilting the horizon to the right or to the left, and then in post you have to go through and fix your rotation. Of course, you lose a little bit of resolution because you have to crop in a little bit at that point. Hopefully that means that this is a feature they have that is actually going to work. I know on my Pilot Fly H2, which I love, that has been very helpful to me over the past few years, it has this problem where it sometimes, even if I have it like in a slider mode where it's not supposed to tilt or roll or pan, it'll just kind of drift right there on the horizon, and it's just so frustrating because you'll have a perfectly symmetric lined up shot and it's blah. So this hopefully means that they put extra work into this and they've fixed that issue. Intelligent control. What can I do with the Ronin app? The Ronin app allows you to set up and fine-tune gimbal performance with settings for features like smooth track, motor parameters, and various intelligent functions. Can I use a wireless remote controller with the Ronin-S? Yes, you can. The Ronin-S is compatible with the DJI Master Wheels and Force Pro when connected when using the DJI Pro wireless receiver. The Ronin-S can also be connected with D-Bus compatible systems such as the Futaba series. All right, via the port on the focus wheel. I have no idea what that is, but good for Futaba. Does the Ronin-S contain a GPS module? What is its purpose? The Ronin-S doesn't come with a built-in GPS module. However, an optional GPS module will be available for car mount scenarios to eliminate gimbal attitude errors that may occur under high G-forces. That's really neat. So I'd never even thought about that before, but if you have your gimbal locked on a car, that GPS could help, kind of like it does in their drones, how that helps keep it stabilized and really fine-tuned. So that's really neat, and this is just another example of how DJI really tries to integrate a lot of technology, just cram their products full of technology that is future thinking, that is going forward. And I think that this GPS module, if it may already be integrated into some of their other higher-end Ronin products, but that just really impressed me when I read that, so I wanted to make a special note of that. What intelligent features does the Ronin-S support? Time-lapse, motion-lapse, panorama, and track. So it seems like the big four right there. What is wireless control range of the Ronin-S? When controlled via the Ronin mobile app, the range is around 10 meters. When connected to third-party control systems, the range might vary. Please consult your system's documentation for range details. When connected to the DJI Pro wireless receiver, the control range can be extended up to 3 kilometers, 2 miles, when there is no obstruction or interference presence. So that's good to know. How many waypoints can I set for motion lapse? This is neat. You can set up to 5 waypoints for motion lapse. And so I haven't done a lot of research on motion lapse, but it seems like a really neat feature that I'm really going to start trying to integrate into my own filmmaking. Is the Ronin-S joystick multi-directional? Yes, the joystick is multi-directional, allowing you to move up, down, left, right, and in all diagonal directions. What does the front trigger do? This is cool. The front trigger allows you to instantly turn off smooth track, recenter the gimbal, and turn it around 180. For example, holding down the front trigger allows you to transition between upright and underslung mode in one seamless movement. So I think this front trigger is going to be a huge deal for me because from what I've seen and from a little bit there, it seems like you can kind of use this to instantly and seamlessly change between one or two different modes. And that's usually what I do with my gimbal. I'm kind of between follow mode and slider mode all day. And on my H2, to put it in underslung mode, as they call it, I just simply twist it around and it intelligently figures that out. I'm not sure if this means that for the Ronin-S to figure that out, that you do have to actually put it in that mode, or if you can seamlessly just move it around. Maybe it's just an easier way to do it, so you kind of hold your motors for a second while you do that, and then release your trigger. I'm not sure. I'll definitely give you some updates on that as I get my gimbal and figure that out. But either way, I think that front trigger, even though it's a very simple additional feature, I think it's one that makes a lot of sense and that a lot of filmmakers will start using. And it'll be one of those things in another year down the road, we'll think, how did I ever use a gimbal without this trigger? I think it'll be one of those things. Okay, last frequently asked question, can I reposition the gimbal using my hands? Yes, the Ronin-S supports push mode in the pan, tilt, and roll axis, allowing you to reposition the gimbal by using your hands. I think what this means is essentially whenever we get frustrated, and if it is tilting that horizon, if it does seem to be drifting whenever we're using it in a way that we don't want, we can simply just grab it and just kind of manhandle it back to where we want it. It's probably not the most optimal way to get like the exact balance you want and the exact stabilization, but I guess that's simply saying that, yeah, you're not going to bust the motors up, you're not going to break it if you just have to, jerk it around and get it to where you need it to be. So all good to know. And so with all that said, I hope that this has helped you maybe just learn more about it. Again, just wanted to put this out here because I haven't looked through all of these frequently asked questions yet. I haven't looked through all the features. I just heard enough to say that's definitely something that I want to try out. It seems like it's going to address some of the frustrations I have with my gimbal, which again, I've had the Pilot Fly H2 since 2015, 2016. I forget which one. But it definitely has increased the production value of my work. It has definitely challenged me to grow as a filmmaker with this technology, and I love the fact that several other companies, I think the Pilot Fly and the Crane have been those companies that were forward thinking enough to say, I think this is something that people want, I think this is something that people need, and they worked on it enough to capture the attention of big manufacturers like DJI who have come in and said, okay, we get what's happening, we're reading the market, we have the technology, we have the software, we have the hardware, we have the engineers, we have the talent. Let's put a lot of effort into making an incredible piece of camera gear like this. And so I'm excited about the Ronin-S. I'm excited about what it means for filmmaking. Sorry if you can hear my daughter crying in the background. My wife is hopefully taking care of that, and hopefully she's not tied up somewhere. And so I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope that you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about the Ronin-S. I know I have. I hadn't yet taken a look at all the features, all the frequently asked questions, what was in the box. I simply knew enough about this gimbal to say, hey, I think this is going to address all of my frustrations, or it's going to address enough of my frustrations to see what it is, to get it in my hands, to feel it out, and to see how is this going to work into my workflow as a filmmaker, how is it going to challenge me as a filmmaker. And so I'm excited about that. And I hope this has been helpful to you, because you, again, like if you're like me, you don't have much free time to go and study and research online or watch a bunch of YouTube videos. And so hope this has been helpful. Hope it hasn't been boring, but I knew that this would probably help a few people. So if you're interested in purchasing the Ronin-S, there's a link in the description that you can use. It'll get you right there to the page. Yesterday when it released, it like went out of stock, or you know, they put a pause on orders after only a few hours, because I think they just got slammed with orders. And so it's open now. They do have the ability to add it to your cart to go ahead and purchase it. They say that it's an estimated ship time of 20 to 25 business days after payment confirmation. And so again, if you think at all that you may be interested in this gimbal, I would say go ahead and order it. If you have that in your budget, if you have that room on your credit card, go ahead and order it. You can always return it after the fact if you get it in your hands and you don't like it. DJI has a great return policy. They're great people to work for. They're a good company. I highly recommend working with them. So all in all, let me know in the description, or excuse me, let me know in the comments if you have any questions that maybe I didn't answer here. As soon as I get my gimbal in my hands, I'm going to be making some videos with that and of that to let you know exactly how it works, answer any questions you guys have, and I just want to be helpful to you. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.